Hey, Christian, don't vote your conscience. Now, why would I say this? Because the Bible warns us not to lean on our own understanding. Humanity's heart, that is, the place of our emotions, desires, and hopes, the center of our or seat of our soul, is selfish and self-centered. Jeremiah 17:9 says, "The heart is deceitful above all things and is exceedingly corrupt. Who can know it?" We don't even really understand ourselves most of the time. So how does this affect our conscience? If Jesus has not completely transformed us, we can have a warped or seared conscience. Our conscience is that God-given moral compass that God puts in us to help us recognize right from wrong. It's talked about by Paul in Romans 2:15. However, selfishness and self-centeredness can warp our conscience. A warped conscience has been pulled or stretched out of shape, perhaps by fear or bitterness or anger or self-centeredness, and it no longer functions as it should. We literally cannot think straight. But if the conscience has been seared up, the word means to burn or cauterize, that it has been rendered insensitive. Such a conscience cannot work correctly. It's as if spiritual scar tissue has dulled the sense of right and wrong. Just as the hide of an animal, like a cow or a horse, becomes scarred with a branding iron, so the heart of a person with a seared conscience is desensitized to moral reproof. Long-term deception or trauma is often involved. Paul identified those with a seared conscience in 1 Timothy 4:1-2 when he said, "Now the Spirit expressly says that in latter times some will depart from the faith by devoting themselves to deceitful spirits and the teaching of demons, through the insincerity of liars, whose consciences are seared as if with a hot iron." This means a person, could be you, could be me, could be someone else, has listened to lies so much and been hurt so deeply that they've accepted the lies as truth. Their conscience gets cauterized, burnt, warped, so their past feeling that lying or other ungodly act, like cheating on taxes, watching porn, denigrating their spouse or family member, gossiping, they don't even believe it's wrong anymore. Self-justification replaces any moral teaching they had previously heard. Now, in 1 Timothy, Paul speaks of the good conscience instead of the seared conscience. Paul says that a good conscience comes by faith and love. And love comes from a pure heart and a good conscience and a sincere faith. That's 1 Timothy 1:4-5. Good conscience can tell right from wrong and is free from guilt. A person with a good conscience maintains his integrity. He is not manipulated by guilt. He enjoys fellowship with those who walk in the light as Jesus is in the light. Now, the lies of the devil are obvious and repulsive to those who have a good conscience. Rather than following the lies of others, he will fight the battle well, holding on to the faith and with a good conscience. That was 1 Timothy 1:18-19. Proverbs 6:27 asked a rhetorical question in relationship to a seared conscience. Proverbs says, "Can a man scoop fire in his lap without his clothes being burned?" It goes on, "Can an apostate disperse the fiery lies of hell without his conscience being seared?" Well, how can we know if we have a seared conscience? Have you said or even thought the following: "Hey, I'm in a jam. I'll borrow some money from the till just this once. I've worked hard and this company doesn't appreciate me. I'm going to pad the expense account. I deserve it." Well, no one else knows about this. She told me this in strictest confidence, but I'm telling you so you can pray about it. Oh, who cares if I speed a little? The road is open. Or do you think, well, I don't see any road workers. I don't need to slow down in this work zone. It's my body. I can do with it what I want. I can drink or eat anything that I want. I can inject it with chemicals if I want to. No one else can tell me what to do. It's my life and my choice. Now, if we say these things in public or in private, or we do things like watch porn or highly violent or sexual films, then we have seared our conscience, continually choosing to live in a sin, in disobeying God's word. We will become desensitized to that sin and our thoughts become warped. But we as Christians are told to renew our minds. Oh, well, perhaps you already have, or you're in the process like me, but there may still be some area in your mind that is still corrupted in some way, an area in which we still think or act in opposition to God's truth. Remember, Jesus said, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. He didn't say, consider carefully what I've said and do what I said if it pleases you or makes sense to you. No, he said, keep my commandments. Don't vote your conscience. Vote biblical principles. I'm Lynn Watkins, and this is Quick Talks. Thank you.